Hello and welcome to another episode of TV Enthusiast weekly podcast or video thing, Marvel versus DC versus TVE. I am your host for this evening, Will Rorig, the keeper of comics. And joining me tonight is Tyson Gifford, the editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast.
Hello, everybody.
And tonight, as always, we are discussing the latest episodes of Arrow and Flash, as well as the season finales of both Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Legends of Tomorrow. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually being a double episode this week. So let's get right to it.
Five episodes.
5 episodes. Let's start with the weakest link this week, which is Arrow. As always, this episode was, stuff happened.
There was one highlight. Felicity got Felicity'd by her mom.
Yeah, Felicity got Felicity'd by her mom. So basically what happened was after Felicity killed like a bunch of people last episode, that made Dark ridiculously powerful. Thanks, Felicity. There were some news reports over the nuke, but nobody seemed to care.
Yeah, no tears shed, just kind of like, isn't that crazy? Like, that's like people's reaction to it. When you think like, I remember like 9/11, there were like people hugging each other and crying, and here it's like, isn't that crazy? Wow, what a world.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, a nuke. Who would have known? I don't know. It's like, what a wacky world we live in. Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares that happened. Very good. Basically, the crux of the episode is that Damien Dark can still launch these nukes with what he has. And so they need like the best hacker around to stop him, which funny enough doesn't happen to be Felicity. Because then we wouldn't have an episode. But don't worry, this episode is 100% Felicity focused if you had any doubts about who is the real star of the show now.
Felicity! It's the Felicity show.
It's the Felicity show because while Felicity isn't the best hacker in the world for this, turns out her dad is. And so they gotta go find her dad. But this isn't lost on Damien Dark either, who sends some of last season's like B-tier bad guys to go kill him. Which doesn't turn out well. He escapes from Damien Dark's minions and gets back to Arrow headquarters, where
this was all last week. Yeah.
Yep. Where him, Felicity, and Mr. Terrific start furiously hacking away on 2 different keyboards because, typing on 2 keyboards connected to the same computer at the same time will equal expert hacking, I guess.
Yeah. This is arrow hacking.
Arrow hacking. Also you can send electricity through computers and like shock somebody and throw them off of their computer or something. I don't know. This was like incredibly retarded.
The creators of Arrow need to watch Mr. Robot.
Oh, by the way, Damien Dark, for his counter hacker, he gets like some ex-boyfriend of Felicity who like
he's the one we saw in the episode about Felicity's past.
Yeah, I already forgot all about that. The point is, it's stupid. Meanwhile, back under the dome, basically Oliver and Diggle like break into the Ark to find and free Thea, but Malcolm drugs Thea so that with that brainwashing drug that they use on the ghosts. so that Thea is brainwashed to fight Oliver.
Father of the Year.
Yeah, Father of the Year. Malcolm Merlin. Thea eventually, with Oliver's help, Thea eventually resists this brainwashing through pure willpower and and basically cures herself.
But, we know it was the power of Felicity, actually.
Yeah, it was the power of Felicity. But Anarchy is still around. We thought Thea defeated him last episode, but apparently he wasn't down for the count. And then he goes and he abducts Damien Dark's wife and child. And he threatens to kill them.
He wants to kill Dark, so he sends out a message basically for Dark to get, but Dark doesn't even get the message.
Oliver Queen steps in with Thea to stop him. He manages to kill Damien Dark's wife, but they save the child. The dome blows up. And at the end of the scene, there's like some Felicity drama. Okay, so this is great. This is wonderful. So remember last episode when Felicity's mother was getting all on
Lance, yeah,
was getting all on Captain Lance's case about like just lying on that application about his relationship with Laurel, and that he knew like she was a black canary. He was to keep his job as a police officer, and she was getting on his case and like moralizing about lying and shit. But this episode, it's totally okay to lie to Felicity about her father to keep, to drive her father away and to keep her from having a healthy relationship with her father because it's not convenient for her.
Yeah. Yeah. We find out that it wasn't Felicity's father that abandoned them. It was...
Yeah, when we find out, yeah. Gotta love that. Yeah, I know. Gotta love that good old smoke hypocrisy.
I bet you could cut out everything that isn't related to like family drama for Felicity, and you'd still have like about a half hour's worth of content. Like you'd have like a half hour Felicity drama episode.
Yeah. all this drama stuff, like this takes up most of the episode. Like really, they could do like, they could have focused on like Oliver, like free rescuing Thea for the entire episode and stretch that out, you know, but half of the episode has to be related to Felicity for like no freaking reason. Like, I feel like the whole like nuke thing and like stop the nukes was like just like a convenient excuse to bring Felicity's mom and dad into it to have like, this is Felicity's show now. She Urkeled Arrow.
Yeah.
It's awful. The episode would have been much better if it was focused on Oliver and Diggle just trying to rescue Thea. That's what the episode should have been about. And then them destroying the Ark, you know, and then like, with Damien Dark's wife getting killed by Anarchy and the emotional fallout from that. I think they would have had something much stronger. Felicity wouldn't have been a part of it. But they have to make like everything about this awful character for like no reason.
Yeah, it's so bad. And it's probably the worst it's been in a while this week. Like I said, the highlight of the episode for me was like the annoying stuff that Felicity does being done to her. So yeah. It was still annoying.
It was still annoying, but it was like, it was like the whole thing, like the nukes could rearm or something or be a problem was like such a contrived reason to just have like all this Felicity stuff in the episode when really like last episode they stopped the nukes. That should have been like, okay, we did this. Let's move on with the rest of the plot.
Yeah.
Dumb. Especially dumb when they brought in like Felicity's old boyfriend from like some like History of Felicity episode that nobody gave a crap about. It was like, that was especially stupid. All right, well, moving on. Moving on, this week we also had the penultimate episode of The Flash.
That's right.
Yep, which brought back a very familiar face, very beloved face that we had just recently lost in the sister show Arrow. Laurel returns in The Flash, but it's not the same Laurel that we knew. This was an evil version from Earth 2, named Siren.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what you're telling me is that in season 3, the main villain is going to be Felicity from Earth 2, Metahuman.
Yeah, the human.
And instead of like creating great like strife and all this stuff, and great problems that they have to address, it's all going to be her like having relationship problems with her parents.
No, here's the deal. It's going to like the villain in season 3 is going to be evil metahuman Felicity from Earth 2, but then after Barry defeats her, she's just going to stick around and become like the star of the show.
Then we're going to have Felicity and Felicity Central City edition.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be like CSI, like how they have CSI New York, but they're going to have like Felicity, and then they have Felicity Central City. Then they have Felicity Time Travel.
So Zoom lets loose an army of metahumans to terrorize the city, but they don't seem to be any big deal for the Flash, who like sweeps them all up by like the dozens in like seconds. And they even comment, "Wow, one of these guys used to be a big problem for you, but you're taking out a bunch of..." Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay.
Barry's like a bit, he's drunk the Speed Force Kool-Aid.
Oh my god, Barry's like
I'm invincible!
Like, I'm invincible. And they're like, "Barry, you gotta be careful, you can get killed." Barry's like, "Nah, I was in the Speed Force, dude. Alright, nah, it's all good. Peace and love, everybody." I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, there's like several interventions for Barry in this episode to the point where it's like freaking annoying.
Yeah.
And then we also get this episode, that Wally wants to be a hero. Like, Wally, like...
Fast and Furious Wally.
Yeah, Fast and Furious Wally. He's getting himself into situations where he's gonna get himself killed. Joe is worried. Joe goes to Barry, talk to him. Barry does talk to him as the Flash, but Wally doesn't listen.
And Barry's like half-heartedly talking to him, because the whole thing, Barry's like, "Yeah, you should be doing this," practically.
Yeah, practically, right? Barry's half-heartedly talking to him. So Barry gets into his first fight with evil Laurel, and he gets his ass kicked royally.
His eardrums kicked.
Yeah, his eardrums kicked. Laurel's about to fish him off when Wally West like slams a car into her and rescues the Flash. Yeah, which is like very freaking funny scene, because it's just like boop. It's like, get in.
He pulls a Walter White from Breaking Bad with the...
Yep. And it's like, it's so funny. And like, from that point on, like, Barry is like 100% Wally is like doing the right thing, like supporting Wally. Even though his dad doesn't like support what he's doing, Barry does. So Black Canary is knocking down buildings because Zoom wants a distraction. Basically, Zoom reveals like his master plan to Barry this episode, which is Zoom realizes that him and Barry are very similar to each other. And all he needs to do is provide a tragedy for Barry to make Barry like himself. This seems to be Zoom's new obsession now. Barry has to become just like me, and he can be just like me or something. I don't know.
More nonsense.
Yeah, more nonsense. So what happens basically this episode is they come up with a plan to defeat all the Earth 2 metas, and that's basically to build some science fiction-y BS machine that will disable anybody from Earth 2. They set it off. It works as intended. It works as intended.
With the obvious caveat,
Yeah, with the
of course it's going to happen, which is.
Yeah, it affects Wells' daughter, to the point where Wells, pretty much sacrifices his own well-being to keep her safe. And he ends up getting hurt by it. But other than that, what happens is it's affecting Zoom, but Zoom just punches a hole in time and space and creates a breach. He just punches a breach into existence.
He doesn't even do some speed thing. It's just a straight up
Yeah, it's he's like no, and creates a breach and runs in it. It's what the hell? It's you never saw Zoom do that before, ever. That wasn't even hinted that was part of his power set, that he could just create breaches at will.
And like I said, had nothing to do with speed. It's not he punched so fast that it caused it. It's just a regular punch.
Yeah, it's just like a regular punch. It just creates a breach. I mean, that's a great BS way of, of making it so that plan doesn't affect Zoom and defeat Zoom, I guess.
Zoomus ex machina.
Yeah, it's like somebody said, shit, if they do that and it works, won't that kill Zoom before the last episode of the season? They're nah, Zoom punches a breach. Yeah. Got this figured out.
At least he didn't break his restraints with the power of darkness.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not not like any more ridiculous things happen to DC Comics. It's not like it's not like his punch completely altered continuity.
Well, we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen yet. Yeah. So basically, they to defeat the Black Siren, the evil Laurel, Cisco and Caitlin come up with this plan that they're going to impersonate their Earth 2 doppelgangers.
Cosplay!
Cosplay! To lure Laurel into, the area where, she will be affected by their machine and be incapacitated.
I think both actors did a good job of doing their cosplay part because, neither one was, as slick and menacing as the Earth 2 self, but it looked like their Earth 1 self imitating the Earth 2 self, which was what it was.
Which is what it was. Yeah, I thought they did a good job, too. So basically, they trick Laurel, they capture her, they put her in their prison, in their little makeshift prison, and
their soundproof prison.
And all seems to be well for this episode. They're partying back at Joe's place. Then all of a sudden, Zoom appears, kidnaps Barry's real dad, and kills him in front of Barry.
In their old house, yeah.
In their old house.
Where his mom died.
Killed. And Zoom does this in the hopes of making Barry just like him. Which, whether it does or not, remains to be seen, because that's exactly where the episode ends. Zoom killing Barry's dad as Barry, pleads for him not to.
This is also how Barry's identity was revealed to Wally.
Oh, yeah.
Because Barry just sped off from the dinner table, full flash speed, and Wally's like, what the what?
Well, he's like, who, what? Huh? What the what? So when this airs, actually the finale of Flash will be out. So, but I'm super excited to watch that tomorrow morning to see how this plays out. Yeah, overall, I give the episode a solid C. There was a lot of, there was stuff that didn't work, and that was like a little too, but then there was also some genuinely cool stuff. It was nice to see Laurel again. Nice to see that actress, also like having like an evil version of her. Like I thought she did like a really great job as like Zoom's lieutenant. Mm-hmm. That ending was like a punch to the gut. That was just, I can feel Barry's pain, especially since Barry like spent the entire episode being so obnoxiously optimistic and overconfident. And then to have that happen at the end of it, like somebody made like an image of that scene where it said, rip Barry's optimism. 2016 to 2016.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I'd say that was a pretty good episode.
So what would you rated that as a C? What would you rate Arrow as? A Z minus?
A D, and only because of like the Arrow stuff inside. Only because like the Arrow stuff inside the arc. The Felicity stuff, like by itself, would rate an F. It's totally irrelevant to anything that anybody is interested in going on in that. All it is dumbass. It's one part dumbass CSI hacking, which makes no sense, is stupid. 2 parts irrelevant plotline about nukes that was supposed to have been resolved at the end of the last episode. And then 3 Felicity family drama, which nobody gives a shit about any of those characters. So, useless.
Yeah.
None of that advances the plot of like the season either. The plot of the season is let's stop Damien Dark. The stuff Oliver Queen does in the arc advances the plot of the season.
So here's what I'm curious of. If anybody actually still likes Felicity as a character. Now, I'm not saying likes Felicity at all, because I liked Felicity when she was first on the show. I'm saying still likes her since like seasons 3 and 4. Let us know so we can horribly mock you on the show.
Yeah, we don't worry. We have no plans of going easy on Felicity anytime soon, unless she becomes a better character.
Which I don't see happening. But
I don't see that happening either.
God. Let's get this, let's wash Felicity from our minds. Let's
turn to, Legends of Tomorrow, which this is the first of our 2 season finales. This week, Legends of Tomorrow ended its first season. With the way that you pretty much expected it to end. This is the big confrontation with, Vandal Savage, where they finally defeat Vandal Savage once and for all.
More bullshit science.
Basically, this could be summed up pretty quickly, since there's only like 2 major components to this episode. There's the actual fight with Vandal Savage, and then there's some stuff with 2016, but mostly Sarah. I think Sarah had the big moment this episode, because it
nicely tied in with something that happened directly on Arrow this week. Tiny moment in Arrow where we just saw that Detective Lance was manning the communications by himself, which let us have the scene where Sarah walked in and it was just the 2 of them.
So basically what happened is, it ties into that scene, which I appreciate it. I appreciate the attention to detail. Like, they actually remembered these shows have continuity. Cough, Arrow, funeral, cough. This episode of Arrow that just aired, they left Lance to man the, computers in the Arrow cave. And in this episode of Legends of Tomorrow, they return to 2016 in May, when all this stuff in the other shows is supposed to be happening. So it's nice that they remembered where their continuity was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I appreciated that. But anyway, the big emotional moment is Sarah learns about Laurel's death. And Sarah, she goes through like all the rationalizations, of course. She's like, well, we got time machine, we can go save her. You know, obviously they're not going to do this because they let this actress go. But Sarah just can't like accept it, you know, that's the way it has to be. Like, I think they give some explanation, like if Sarah did like manage to interfere, like all the Lances would be dead, or some like explanation like that.
Doesn't really make sense, but
yeah, I know. No, it doesn't. So that was the big emotional moment for the episode. The rest of the episode is basically the fight against Vandal Savage, where they realize what Savage's ultimate plan is, and it's kind of a doozy. Basically, Vandal Savage wants to use the meteorite that gave him immortality and basically created Kendra and Hawkman to erase history and start the timeline over from the beginning of time.
I gotta cut you off real quick, Will. We have a really nice close up of your knuckles. Okay.
I put my hand right in front. I can't believe I did that.
Go on.
Oh, okay. So, so to repeat, so basically Vandal Savage's entire plan is to use the meteor to erase history and to take everything back to the beginning of time so that...
Well, not even to the beginning of time, but to like his time in Egypt, which makes no sense because that wasn't one of the points that he blew up. So why would it return there?
Yeah. I don't know. Because plot.
Yeah. There's so many issues with that. First, it's like, he's gonna blow up 3 meteorites at the same time, each meteorite enough to wipe out the Earth. And since those can't all happen at the same time, if then it would create a paradox. Why does there have to be 3? You just use 2 would be a paradox. It's just like there's so many like you could nitpick for ages on that plan and everything that happens on it down to the way the heroes fight off the plan. All of it's bullshit. It's just like loaded with bullshit from beginning to end.
Because don't think about it. Basically, just is so they have to fight Vandal Savage in 3 different timelines in order to stop him. There's this cool scene where like Vandal Savage from future goes back to the 1950s and confronts himself, and he's like, his younger self is like, how is this possible? And his older self is like, time travel. But basically, so they have to go back to the 1950s to 2021 and the 1970s to stop Vandal Savage. I thought what was interesting about this, though, I was totally expecting it to happen, but it doesn't happen, is one of the timelines they have to go back to is the 1970s. This is after Sarah learns about Laurel and who is responsible. And if you watch the episode for the 1970s where they go back to, Damien Dark is there. He was part of that auction. I'm surprised since they had Sarah, like they split into 3 different teams, and each team went to like a different era in time, and they specifically had Sarah go back to that point in time.
I didn't even think about that.
Where Damien Dark was after she had learned that Damien Dark had killed her sister.
That was brilliant of Rip.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. That was brilliant of Rip. So I was expecting some kind of confrontation, her to see him and get distracted, but that never happens this episode. And I'm like, what? You set that up perfectly to do nothing with that? Was that an accident? I wonder if there was
like an outtake or something.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even think about that, and that's so perfectly lined up for something like that to happen.
Yeah, it's like the writers couldn't have done that on accident, could they? They couldn't have just unintentionally done that. But no, nothing comes of it. Maybe it was set up like that. Maybe the actor who plays Dark was supposed to make an appearance, but he bowed out of this episode for some reason, and they had to rewrite it slightly. I don't know.
It wasn't in his contract, and he's been watching Arrow this season.
Yeah.
He's been like, oh, fuck this. I'm done with this.
Yeah, right. I'm done.
I'm only going to do what's in my contract.
There was other things too, like there was a scene where Mick went back to 2013 to say goodbye to Snart in the past. One last time.
I like that.
Yeah, that was a good scene. I really liked it.
I did like them killing Savage in all three timelines, especially Mick.
Especially
Mick just cremating him.
Cremating him, like brutal, Yeah, them killing Savage in all three timelines was cool. Then there was the part where like they managed to like get rid of like the first two meteors, but then they tried the same techniques on the third meteor, and for some reason it doesn't work on the third meteor because plot.
Yeah, because plot.
So Rip has to take it on the Wave Rider, and he goes to fly the Wave Rider into the sun. Except, he gets cold feet at the last moment.
He has a hallucination.
And then he realizes he doesn't have to kill himself. He can just launch it into the sun and turn around.
What? Who would have ever thought of that?
Never thought of that. No, I thought he had to die for no reason.
Why does it even have to be launched into the sun? It's going to explode, but it doesn't have to be launched into the sun. It just has to be far enough away from her.
So once, yeah, I know, exactly. So once Vandal Savage is defeated and the meteors are taken care of, they have a choice. Everybody can go back to what they were doing, or, as Rip Hunter notes, since the Time Masters are no more, that makes it their job to be the new Time Masters.
This led to my favorite thing about this episode.
Oh, I'll get to that. So everybody has to decide if they're going to sign on to be the new Time Masters, and everybody pretty much agrees, except for Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
That's my favorite part of the episode.
Except for Hawkman and Hawkgirl, who are like, no, we just want a normal life. Okay, thanks, bye.
I almost stood up and cheered. I was like, yes!
They're like,
Get them off the fucking show!
They're basically like, Vandal Savage is dead. We don't have nothing to fear from him. Mission accomplished. We're going home. Yeah, they're gone.
I just hope they don't find a reason to bring him back in the second season. I hope they just bring new people onto the team. That would be the best way to handle this show, would be to have Rip be like the only constant and have other people kind of come in and out.
Sounds like that's what they're doing, because at the end of the show, as they're about to enter the Wave Rider to embark on their next mission, a Wave Rider touches down in front of them.
A second one,
they're kind of like, what the fuck? This guy pops out, and he says, don't get in there, you'll die. And he's like, and then he reveals himself to be Rex Tyler, aka Our Man. And he announces he's from the Justice Society of America.
This is the character I had mentioned before, that they were going to have an actor, one of the main actors on Suits was going to be in Legends of Tomorrow, in the season finale, and in like the next couple episodes, like already signed on for a couple episodes in the new season, maybe more, I don't know, but at least a couple episodes. And and they said he's going to be a character that fans are going to love. And this is the character. So Justice Society of America is a thing. It's happening.
Yep. Whoop. Based Berlanti. So that's pretty exciting. They're saying season 2 of Legends is going to be like a reboot of sorts. So I'm interested to see how that shapes out.
I think that's the best thing they could possibly do. Maybe they're taking a little bit of a page out of Doctor Who's book, because they do have Rory from Doctor Who on their show as Rip. maybe they're going to take a page. And in Doctor Who, like, it's usually like every 2 seasons they change doctors.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's usually like the time between that they change companions. So like it's usually like they'll have a new doctor show up, and then the old companion that the last doctor had continues on with them, and then the companion goes away, and then that doctor has a relationship with a new companion, and then that doctor goes away, and it's just like a kind of cycle, and it's different sometimes, but it's usually like that. That's usually kind of like the format of it. So maybe they're taking a page out of that book. Maybe that's what they're thinking. They're like, we'll just kind of reboot. We'll kind of get rid of a bunch of the actors. We'll bring some new ones in, kind of freshen it up. And that's the best possible thing they could do.
Okay. So the next show we're going to be talking about, this was a finale so big, it required 2 hours.
This is a very ABC thing. I mean, ABC did this with Lost, with every season premiere and every season finale was 2 hours.
Like, ABC now does this with like random episodes in the middle of the season. Like, they're really addicted to like this whole 2 hour thing.
Sometimes it's just they're literally throwing 2 episodes together. This actually felt like one long episode, though.
This did. This flows together as like one episode. It's really hard. In fact, it's pointless to discuss this as 2 separate episodes. It aired.
So we won't.
Yeah, it won't. I mean, it aired as one episode. Okay, so that's what we're going to discuss it as, which means for 2 hours there's a lot to go over. The basic the gist of it is that this is the end game. Hive is about to enact his grand master plan, which is to use a ballistic missile to spread the Inhumans, to spread like the Inhuman stuff around and make everybody. He's gonna spread his stuff with his big missile. Jesus. Yeah, we're 5. Yeah, but his plan to make everybody an Inhuman who he will have sway over, in order to achieve world peace. But anyway, this is his idea to achieve world peace, because if everybody is under his control, then nobody's fighting each other. Am I right?
Yeah, typical megalomaniac utopia.
Yeah, exactly. S.H.I.E.L.D. infiltrates his base, of course. OVS. One of the cool thing is though, as they're infiltrating like Hive's base, there's this cool scene where like they come up with this idea where they can like mess up Hive and like jumble up like his memories of all his past lives to the point where like he is so confused and doesn't know what's going on. They do this, they use like some sound device or something. They catch him in it. And
it was the same device they'd used before on the show. Remember Lincoln used it. I think it was Lincoln that used it. Somebody used it. I think Lincoln helped get it going with a charge or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember,
Lincoln helped getting going with a charge. Yeah.
It's a machine designed to retrieve memories.
Oh, that's
right. That's what it is. So they've used it. It's been on the show like 2 or 3 times before.
That's right. It's that machine. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. That didn't even click with me when I was watching it. But yeah, it's that machine. And they use it to dig up Hive's, all his memories of his past lives, or the lives that he consumed into himself.
As Max said, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, this is gonna suck. So basically, he's dealing with like all these memories at once to the point where he can't think straight. This leads to Hive getting captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. So they bring Hive Hive safely locked away in like this gel substance.
Yeah, he's like petrified in this gas that hardened into like an amber or something.
Into like an amber. It looks like Jello or something, to be honest. But they capture Hive. They take him back to S.H.I.E.L.D's base, S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, to study him and figure out what's going on. And basically, what happens is you wouldn't believe what happens next. Basically, they forgot he still had allies, and they managed to drop an Inhumans gas bomb inside S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, turning some of the agents in the headquarters into Inhumans, wild, malformed Inhumans.
They sent it like a package.
Yeah, they sent it like a package.
Fitz noticed it a little bit too late, but noticed that the shipping label said, I can't remember what it was, but there was a code word that they'd been talking about through the episode and asking if Daisy knew what it was, and she didn't. I think it was Absolution or something.
It was Absolution.
And he noticed that the tag said Absolution, Minnesota or whatever was the destination that the thing came from.
Yeah. There's this very intense scene where when that happens, Fitz is stuck in there with the newly created Inhumans. He can't get out. They can't open the door for him.
And they're dragging more people into the mist, too.
Dragging more people into the mist to turn them. So it's just getting worse and worse. Fitz manages to escape that mess. They end up freeing Hive, so Hive is free once again. Daisy, it's revealed, meanwhile, they got Daisy, being held prisoner. She had just been cured of Hive's sway by Lash last episode, but they're still wary of Daisy, rightfully so. And they note that she's going through withdrawal syndrome symptoms. Mm-hmm. They describe Lash's sway is being hooked on a drug. It's like a drug, and once you're deprived of that or you're cured, you go through withdrawal symptoms. You need to have that sway again. And that's what
she's just constantly looking sweaty and depressed.
Yeah. and she's full of self-loathing. She's oh no, I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve for you to be my friends or anything, or wow, she's really, really down on herself. And then the first opportunity she gets, she escapes and she runs to Hive and begs Hive to sway her again. But Hive can't, because Lash's cure is so complete that it makes her immune to Hive's sway.
And then that kicks in a badass fight scene.
Yeah, because
Daisy just gets furious.
Yep. And she fights Hive. Hive wins. There's this cool scene.
Basically because there's nothing she can do to him. I mean, she did a lot to him. She crumpled his body up. Yeah. And then he just popped back into place. I loved it when she was stabbing him repeatedly. Yeah. He's just sitting there talking as he's doing it.
Yeah, she is full on brutal, but since he's basically invincible, there's nothing she could do to him really. So the fight on her end seems to be, it's futile.
Yeah.
There's this cool scene where Hive confronts Coulson, and Hive shows Coulson his true face, and then Hive announces he's gonna kill Coulson, take Coulson's body, and then as Coulson announced that Hive's been taken care of and then everything's okay, and Coulson is okay. And then he reveals, when Hive goes to, kill him, he can't touch him because, he's been talking to a hologram of Coulson the whole time.
And then Coulson decides to act out a scene from Star Wars.
Yep. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. That was cool. Star Wars reference in a Marvel show. Star Wars reference in a Disney-owned show.
Yeah.
But every time that happens, I have to say that. So,
well, if you use your Disney Infinity figures and you tap them on the little Infinity pad when the show's running, a Star Wars reference pops out of a character's mouth.
So that was like a really cool thing. That was like a really cool scene. Also, we got to see like H.I.V.E.'s true form. There's like this really annoying thing they've been doing like the entire episode, which they've been teasing for a long time, and we knew going into this finale that somebody's gonna die. And we know like some small details from Daisy's vision, like we know they're wearing a certain type of jacket. They have a small gold cross necklace. So they've been doing like something really annoying this episode is where they had multiple characters don that jacket and then take that cross.
The hot potato with the cross of death.
They had Fitz take it. They had like, Yo-Yo give it to Mac. They had at one point Daisy took it, and then finally, Lincoln takes it from Daisy. I just thought that was exceedingly silly. Why did they have to do that?
I liked the move of playing this way on it, and I called this last week that they were going to do that they were going to pull this swerve, but they overdid it. I like
the end, the swerve at the end with Daisy and Lincoln. That was fine. And I thought that was cool. Yeah, but yeah, they overdid it by like teasing Fitz and then teasing Lincoln, you know, like they had Lincoln like get, you know, they had that guy like Hot Stuff charge something on Lincoln's belt and it like blows up on him and leaves him injured. And you think, oh shit, did he just die? It's like, no. That doesn't even...
I still love that we just started calling him Hot Stuff.
I know. Hey, they're not going to give him a name. We're going to name him. You're not going to like what we name him. But basically, the big ending of the episode, what this is all leading up to, basically, is they have to stop H.I.V., and Daisy knows from her vision somebody has to die to stop him. He's gonna launch the ballistic missile. And they come up with the idea that like, well, if they go into space, then like if they take it into space, then it can blow up and nobody's gonna turn into an Inhuman. It's just gonna be harmless.
Yeah, the Inhuman particles will just float around in space and everyone in the International Space Station will become one.
Yeah, but who cares about that? But they realize if they take that missile into space, then they can stop H.I.V.'s plan. But Daisy knows from her vision that this is a suicide mission. And so Daisy volunteers to take it on. She grabs that jacket. She grabs that necklace. She makes sure she has it. And she's getting ready. She's saying goodbye to Lincoln. And Lincoln just cannot accept that Daisy wants to sacrifice herself. And so Lincoln gets on that ship. And without even realizing it, Daisy realizes Lincoln took the necklace from her. And he's on that ship sacrificing himself with H.I.V.E. And there's this cool moment at the end when you realize, yes, it's Lincoln that's dying. You know, it's kind of a cop-out because they said like a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent would die. Lincoln technically isn't a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. There was even like a conversation earlier in like the episode where like they were talking to Lincoln about being like a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Lincoln's like, I don't want to be a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's not something I want to do. But there's this what's so cool about this ending is like he's on there with H.I.V.E. and H.I.V.'s not like seething or raging or anything, that his plan was defeated. H.I.V.E. is actually pretty calm and and he's talking to Lincoln, and they're both kind of like accepting their fate together. They're both gonna die on this ship, and they're both accepting it. And there's this weird moment of bonding between the two characters. You know, it's like this mutual like understanding, of the predicament that they both find themselves in. And so they kind of
talking about seeing the Earth and how it looks beautiful and small, and it was a really cool scene.
It was a really cool scene, and so they die together, which was interesting. I thought that was kind of different for like the finale, especially like dealing with like the major antagonist of the season. I thought that was really interesting. Brett Dalton, by the way, fantastic this entire episode. Unless there's like some amazing ass pull next season, this is apparently Brett Dalton's like last appearance on the show, like at least not in a flashback capacity. Like it's said they could come up with some kind of ass pull to bring him back, but I just can't imagine what. That wouldn't feel like really dumb.
There is something at the very end of the episode that could be a play at that.
I don't know. I didn't notice that. Oh yeah, no, there is. You're right. Darn it. It didn't even occur to me. You're right. You're right. That they're totally doing this.
Maybe not. I don't know, because they didn't have a meeting.
They are.
Brett Dalton said that they had the meeting, that he'd dreaded. He said like they'd always bring him into a meeting and then say, "Don't worry, you're not dying. Your character is gonna go through this change or something." And he said that when, the finale, when he got the script for the finale, or before he got the script for the finale, that he had that same kind of meeting, except they immediately said, no, there's no out of it this time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to do it. At least not right away. They might hold off for a bit. I hope they do.
So basically the ending is interesting because after H.I.V.E. dies, we go to 6 months later now. The Sokovia Accords are in full effect. Coulson and Mac are trying to track down Daisy, who is apparently a fugitive now. Possibly because
Coulson's a field agent now?
Well, yeah, that's what I want to get to. Like, Coulson is apparently he's not in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. He's a field agent. Daisy is a fugitive, and they're trying to track her down for whatever reason. They find her. Daisy gets away. And then there's a post-credit sequence with, the scientist there. Radcliffe, the guy from Spartacus, who said all those great things. He's celebrating. He's creating a body for his AI assistant. He's creating Ultron Light. Dollar store Ultron. No.
What's the initials? There was initials on the screen.
You know what the initials were. It's Life Model Decoy. So So basically Radcliffe is creating the Life Model Decoy, which in the Marvel comic books is supposed to be lifelike robots that can mimic like anybody. Like you could have a Life Model Decoy of like Captain America, and it would be like almost indistinguishable from like the real thing. Mm-hmm. Basically, so that's what this is. So they're teasing that, and now that you said it, I believe this is how they're keeping Brett Dalton in the show, because I'm guessing because of Radcliffe's relationship with H.I.V.E. Radcliffe is going to create LMD of Brett Dalton and bring him back to life in that way. And we're going to get Robot
Ward.
We're going to get Robot Ward. So this is like got to be like the weirdest twist in terms of like this character's going towards from being a hero, one of the members of S.H.I.E.L.D., to a Hydra agent, to an alien, and now a robot. Wow. Okay. I know the last one's just speculation, but since I haven't heard of anything about Brett Dalton not being a cast member on S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore, we're gonna roll with that being the case.
It's likely. It's like the Jon Snow resurrection on Game of Thrones. You know, everybody kind of knew it was coming.
Yep, pretty much. So,
I think it might not happen right away, though.
No, well,
I hope it doesn't happen right away.
It's not going to happen from the jump. So that concludes this episode of Marvel vs. DC vs. TVE. I was your host, Will Rohrig. Tyson Gifford joined me tonight. Stay tuned to TV Enthusiast. This Thursday we have our weekly podcast, The Weekly Set. This week we're going to be talking about the summer preview. All the shows that are premiering in the summertime. It's not the old days, and these days now, there actually is new stuff to watch during the summer.
Reruns are a thing of the past. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So look forward to that. As always, next week we will be doing the final episode of Marvel vs. DC vs. TVE, where we will be discussing the finales of The Flash and Arrow as they take their bows for this season. So look forward to that. Have a good night, everyone.
So before we go, I just wanted to say that I have something to say that's going to take everyone's breath away.
Okay.
Snorkeling.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Good night.